How about we just sit here for an hour and drink water?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Queer Collective podcast. My name is Karbon.
And I'm Emily.
And welcome to the show. Today, we're going to be talking about the times that we encountered celebrities, encounters of the celebrity kind.
Yeah.
And how we messed up. I have some embarrassing celeb stories, definitely in my roster.
Does anyone have any good stories, though? Do you ever successfully meet a celebrity? Like, what does that even mean?
I feel like some people do.
I feel like I always walk away just being like, what did I just say?
Also, apparently, I have a tendency of embarrassing myself, but I don't intend to. I always think that I'm just going to be cool, but then I'm not. So
you're definitely a lot cooler than I am.
I don't think so.
Just the way that you can move your body is cooler than me.
That has nothing to do with anything.
I think it does.
Like dancing?
I feel like,
you mean dancing, right?
Dancing and everything. Like your body is just cooler than mine. Like I feel like I'm just flailing. Like I have like really long limbs and they're awkward.
Like a wacky inflating tube band.
So there are 3 celebrities that we're going to talk about our encounters with today. One of them we met together. The first one that we're going to do is Laura did this shit show all on her own. And then one of the stories is mine from like 10 years ago.
My first embarrassing story is the time that I met Jessie Reyez. And now the thing about it is, the thing that makes it the most embarrassing is actually not that I met her. It's that I had the chance to correct this like 3 different times on 3 different occasions, and I never did. It just got progressively worse. Every single time I met her, it just got worse.
So context, Laura works in a manual therapy clinic as like the manager of like front of house. So that's where she met Jessie Reyez. And it's called Myo Detox, and they're basically just like a well-marketed physio place is what I grasp from it. Like they're great. I go there. But their
So
branding is like
works.
their branding is like their selling point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of celebrities also.
Oh, right. I was like, what is the point to that, saying that? But now, yes. So it is actually a very well-known brand. Essentially, they made physio cool. And then the founder has like something ridiculous, like 500,000 followers on Instagram or something like that. So he's very well known, and his company is very well known as well. So we have a couple locations in Toronto. We have some in Vancouver. We even have one in LA. So it's like an always expanding company, and there's like some hype behind it. There's some fame to the name because the founder treats a lot of celebrities. So then even more celebrities want to come in and see what it's all about. So one time we had Jessie Reyez come into the clinic. Now, the thing that you have to keep in mind also is that I had no idea that she was coming in. Like she just showed up and I was like, oh my God. Right. So,
but would that make it better or worse? For me, it's like the anticipation would build up my weirdness and I would just overthink it. But if someone just like surprised me, I'd be like, oh shit.
That's true.
Hello.
But I also like, I wasn't prepared. And that just, I think that made it worse actually.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Also, Laura's like Karbon is like a massive fan of Jessie Reyez. So I think that just added to it.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Jessie Reyez and love all her music, like listen to it all the time. So the fact that she was there in person was just like insane. So what happened was that I was just like on the front desk. I was on my computer. I was just minding my business. I was like not really paying attention. As one does, because I was just deeply into whatever task that I was doing, right? So I was like on the computer. She walks in. I didn't know that it was her that had walked in. I just saw someone walk in, right? And I just kind of glanced up and was like, hey, how's it going? Without even really looking at who it was. And then she was like, hey, is Vinny here? So I'm like on my computer And I hear the word Vinny, who's the founder, who's the one that gets all the celebrities booking him in. So I was like, oh, snap, this must be someone important. So I look back up and she's right there. And I had no idea what to say. I didn't even know that this was happening. So as soon as she said, hey, is Vinny here? I was like, I don't know. Is he? Maybe you should text him.
It's great customer service. I think that's why you were promoted to a manager. I don't know. Can you text him?
I was like,
what am I here for?
Is he? Do you know? How about you text him? You should text him. And then
voice cracker.
And then she was like, oh, okay. And then I'm just like, oh my God, what the heck? And then I'm like trying to message other people. I'm like, oh my God, is Vinny supposed to be here? I didn't know he was supposed to be here. Why is Jessie Reyes here? I'm freaking out. And I'm just like, head down. I'm not worthy. Because I was like,
posture. Handmaid's Tale reference.
I was like, don't speak unless you're spoken to, because my heart was beating out of my chest. So I was super silent. And then the next thing that she says, she sat on the couch in like the waiting area. The next thing she says is like, I really like the ambience in here. And I was like, legitimately, this is what came out of my mouth. I was like, you like the smell?
I feel embarrassed just listening to this story. I'm like,
it was really embarrassing. I was like, you like the smell? And she was like, yeah, I guess. And I was like, we just put in a new oil for the air diffuser. She was like, oh, okay. And then she was like, ah. And then she just sat there and just waited. And then I put my head down and I just waited until eventually Vinny came down the stairs and he was like, oh, hey, like, come on up. And I was like,
and finally she can breathe.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that he keeps teasing me now. He's like, I'm going to bring her back in here so you guys can meet for real. And you guys can get a picture together. And I was like, do not bring her in here.
You do like a hover hand. You just be like,
I've done that before. I'll put the picture here. I've done the hover hand. And I did the hover hand with like a minor celebrity. Like nobody really knows who she is unless you're a dancer. But like I was such a big fan that I was like, she like was like this on me. And I was just like, the girl that I did the hover hand around, her name's Kaylin Harris, who's a very famous dancer. But unless you're in the dance scene, you don't really know. However, with Jessie Reyes, like, I'm scared that she'll come back. I'm scared that Vinny will actually bring her back and that I'll have to take a picture with her. Because I'll definitely hover hand. I can't not. Like, I don't know how to touch her.
So what were your times of redemption? Were you
0?
I thought you said there was 3.
There's 3 different occasions, but 0 redemption.
Okay, but what happened?
So actually, the second time, I didn't even meet her because I ran away. Like, I just like, everybody was like, Jessie Reyes is coming in. Laura, Jessie Reyes is coming in 6 p.m. today. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. I'm going to leave at 5. I got to go. So I literally ran away and left with enough time, like an hour in between. I left at 5. She was coming in at 6. So that there was no chance that we could run into each other on the way out as she was coming in and like bump. And then
that would provide a lot of opportunity for awkwardness.
I just left like well in advance so that I wouldn't see her. The third time, however, it wasn't like anywhere near the end of my shift. It was like right in the middle. So I couldn't just leave early. I would have had to leave like 4 hours early or something. So the third time they were like, oh, Jessie Reyes is coming. And I was like, in my head, I was like, I got this. I got this time. I got this for sure. And I kept repeating and rehearsing in my head what I was going to say to her. I was like, okay, this is how you're going to greet her. And then boom, you got this. So I had a plan, right?
What was your plan?
This is my plan. So she came in and she was like, actually, she just came in and she was like, hey, is Vinny here? And I was like, hey, how's it going? That was my plan. I was like, hey, how's it going? And she was like, good, and you? And that's where my plan ended. I didn't have a reply. That was the beginning.
You could just say good.
That wasn't in the plan.
The sad part is Laura's actually a really good conversationalist. Like anytime I've gone into the clinic and there's been customers, like you can somehow just make these massive long conversations. Like that's such a gift. I suck at that. I'm not very good at just starting conversations with random people, mainly because I don't really like doing it. But you're good at that is what I'm saying.
Well, the thing is that
but clearly not with celebrities.
No. Definitely not with celebrities. The thing is that I built this plan of I'm going to say, hey, how's it going? And I didn't think to form a reply. I didn't expect it to reply. That's where the plan ended. So as soon as that was done, it was sabotaged. Okay. So she was like, good, how are you? And I was like, this is what I did. Ready? I'm going to say it and you're going to say, good, how are you? Ready? All right. Hey, how's it going?
Good. And you? That's actually...
That's what I did. I was like, I threw up a peace sign.
What?
I was like...
I'm embarrassed to know you right now. I didn't know this part happened.
It was so bad. I just threw up a peace sign and I was like...
What the fuck?
And then I put my head down.
Did you contact Vinny or did you just leave it up to her again?
No, I just wanted to disappear.
Oh God.
And I'm just
cringing right now.
Yeah. And then Vinny keeps saying, I'm going to bring her back in so you guys can get a picture. And the funny thing is that as soon as that happened, Vinny had actually told me before she got there. He's like, hey, I'm going to talk to her so you guys can get a picture together. But then I did that. And then I left again. I left before the session was over so that I couldn't get a picture. And then the next time he saw me, he's like, hey, where'd you go last time? I told her that you wanted a picture. She was ready.
She probably thinks you're a psycho. Or just
I would.
It's so awkward.
You know when you meet celebrities, or if you have, I don't know. But if you have, and you've met them, you're like, oh, I hope they remember that. I hope she forgot all about me. I absolutely pray that she just has no recollection of that encounter, and that something else that was more embarrassing is what sticks in her head that didn't include me.
I hope so.
I think it's time for you to tell your story now.
Okay. I haven't met very many celebrities, so this person is hardly famous. Very, very hardly. So during the 2010 Olympics,
those were good ones for Canada.
Yeah. So that was a Winter Olympics, and backstory, I used to do snowboard cross, which is basically 4 snowboarders going down a track at once, and you're racing each other and cutting each other off. There's berms and jumps and shit. I'm pretty sweet. So me and my dad were watching that Olympics religiously, and this French Canadian woman, Maëlle Ricker, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but whatever. She won gold, I believe, but it was this big crazy thing that happened. She fell in the beginning of the race. So we were like, oh my God, count her out. But then she kept going, and later down the race, all 3 of the other racers fell in this huge collision, and then I'm pretty sure she won. I think that's what happened. So that's why it was super, super, super memorable in my head. I was like, whoa, cool. So
I think I actually remember that.
Yeah.
Because I was
super memorable.
Into the 2010 Olympics and I was totally watching that. It's the one where you go down the hill and there's turns and crazy and then jumps and stuff. I remember there being one where there was one person super dead last.
Yeah, I think she fell literally in the first 3 seconds.
And was trying desperately to just catch up and was making good speed because they were making really sharp turns, right? Yeah. She was making sharp turns. And then everybody else fell and she was zoom.
Yeah.
And then she won that gold.
Yeah, that's the thing with snowboard cross. It's even if you fall in the beginning, keep going because you never know what's going to happen.
It's true.
But yeah, anyway, I remembered her, and the next winter I went to this snowboard cross camp that was at Blue Mountain, and me and my racing team, we stayed in this hotel there. And before us, it was a World Cup kind of thing or something. I can't remember. It was a qualifiers for the next Olympic. And a bunch of racers were using that course the week before. So there was like kind of big racers there or whatever. And Mael Ricker was one of them. And she stayed like the next week during the camp. So we got to meet her. And at this point in my life, I was like in grade 8 and I didn't realize that I have severe ADHD yet. So I was kind of just like, my personality was just like shit disturber. I just like to do everything to like make people laugh because like I couldn't sit still at all. So I decided that I was just going to act like I was her like crazy super fan. So we were staying in the same hotel and everywhere I'd see her, I'd be like, oh my God, Mael Ricker. Ah! And it's like, it was kind of funny because she's like not even famous. Everyone was so embarrassed, but also laughing. And the girl who was like our coach, she was like, stop it. But everyone else was laughing. Like, oh my God. And she would like kind of run away from me. But I have a photo with her. Maybe if I can find it.
You have a photo? She let you approach her?
This was before I started stalking her. So I initially met her during this photo op, got a photo, and then I started acting like a creep. But I don't know if I intended to embarrass myself in that one though. So the third and final story we're going to tell is one that we had together, where it's a famous YouTuber. But before we get into that one, I wanted to ask you a question. If you could meet any celebrity, who would it be?
That's a good question. You know, I don't think that I would necessarily want to meet like celebrities per se. Like, as in they're super, super famous, have all this fame, have all this hype. I more so want to meet people that are that I kind of look up to, mostly in the creative industry. And I would want to not just have it be like, oh, snap a picture and done, but rather like sit down and have like an actual conversation, get to know them, have them get to know me, and like legitimately just like ask questions and exchange knowledge. Yeah. Like that would be to me the ideal when it comes to meeting like celebrities, quote unquote. So one that I would definitely want to meet, like I already met him, but it was one of those snap a picture and done kind of thing.
Who?
Ian Eastwood.
I didn't know you met him.
Yeah, I met him. Ian Eastwood, I met him, I took his class, but it was like, you know, there's like 100 other people there. Yeah. So it's not like an intimate setting where you actually sit down and have a conversation. Yeah. So I'd want to meet him, have a conversation, get to pick his brain a bit. I would want to meet Philip Shabib, who's the one that even got me into dance in the first place. Like he's the reason, like, because I saw the way that he moved, I realized that there's so many alternative ways of dance that I had not even known or discovered. I thought it's
hilarious.
Which was years ago, like years and years. I thought initially everything was contemporary and that was it.
Yeah. You know what's hilarious? Philip Shabib is one of Laura's like role models. You love him. Yeah. And he randomly just followed me on Instagram and I don't know why.
I actually don't.
I have nothing to do with dance.
Yeah. Not jealous. Just a little.
Just confused.
I'm just confused. Like, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Again, I met him, but I didn't get to like sit down and have a convo with him. And then I would really, really want to meet Peter McKinnon, who is an incredible photographer and videographer, and get to pick his brain because every time he talks, you can just tell how much passion that he has for photography, cinematography. And I would really want to just like, I don't know, get more insight on his line of thinking on that. How about you? Who would you want to meet?
I'm fairly interested in politics, so I feel like I'd really like to meet AOC because she's like really fucking cool. Also like cool like queer bands, because I'd like to potentially work with them. Like, I don't know if you guys know Rainbow Kitten Surprise. They don't sound at all like the way that their name sounds. They're actually a very, very cool queer band. So I would love to meet them. They're super cool, really great lyrics, really cool content. You guys should actually look them up. And
Rainbow Kitten Surprise.
They're really cool.
If anybody knows someone that knows someone, hit us up.
Yeah. I'd like to meet Charlotte Day Wilson as well. She's like a cool kind of like soul singer from Toronto, also queer. Yeah. But more like low-key artists, like people who I'm actually just a fan of and I enjoy their music.
Yeah. for sure.
Shall we jump into the last person?
Let's just jump into it.
Okay, so I think I should give like a precursor of what this day was. So I'm not gonna say who it is yet, but I'm going to explain what our day consisted of. So
I forgot that it was a
shit show. Yeah,
it was just what the hell was that day?
Yeah,
it was so random.
So last summer, I think it was my sister. She texted me that Via Rail was giving out like $500, $600 unlimited summer student passes, or like just young adult passes. So I convinced Laura, I was like, let's do it. This would be so cool. We can take the train all the way to BC. We could go to Alberta, et cetera, et cetera. We can like go wherever we want. It'll be just like random weekend adventures. Yeah. And I convinced her. Usually I'm not that spontaneous. Like normally I think things through very thoroughly, but I was like, let's do it. So we bought them, and then we kind of just waited until the summer, and then we went to like look at tickets to get. And the thing is, Laura has a full-time job, so we weren't really able to take large chunks of time off. So we were looking at going to BC, or is Alberta? Yeah, we were looking to go to Alberta to go visit one of my friends, Rebecca, and we didn't realize that it would take like 3 days to get there, 3 days to get back. So that's basically a whole week right there. So
just traveling.
So we would have to take like 2 weeks off to actually go and enjoy ourselves. We're like, this just isn't really feasible. And then I think we waited another week to figure out what we were going to do. So we decided we were going to go to Halifax instead. But we were looking at all the tickets, and basically everything was sold out.
Yeah. And we really wanted to like get the most out of what we bought, which was, you know, the student travel pass or whatever. And we were like, okay, like every weekend we can just go on like a small little trip. Mm-hmm. Our big one was to Halifax, which we planned out. But in between, we were like, let's just like spontaneous. We were like
let's go to Montreal.
We were like, let's spontaneously just like go places, whatever. And then so we looked at, the thing about it was that like almost everything was sold out for the Via Rail, like weeks and weeks in advance. Yeah. Like the, not Alberta, the Halifax trip that we bought, that we planned out, we had to plan out a month in advance. Yeah. So
nothing was spontaneous about
Nothing was spontaneous. There was no weekend trips to take, none at all, unless you planned them out over a month in advance. Yeah. Because the further you got into the summer, the more sold out it would get, right? So like we're like, I don't know, we'll take anything. So we'll like randomly decided, okay, like looks like there's tickets for Ottawa. Let's go to Ottawa. Yeah. Let's explore. Yeah. And then
so we decided we were going to do that. We were going to leave after Laura was done work, and we were just going to mission there. What happened was I got on the streetcar. I think I was just home all day, and I got on to go meet you, and I didn't realize that it was rush hour, so everything was going to take longer. So I arrived at your work a little bit late, and then we went and we ran to the streetcar, but seriously, everything was so slow. Yeah. Like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Yeah. So Emily arrived to my work late because she didn't realize how slow everything was going to be and how long it was going to take. And then we rushed out. We got on the next streetcar to go to the train station, and then it was going so painfully slow that we decided, okay, let's get out and call an Uber instead. So we did that, and then the Uber was like, it was like, it couldn't even get here because there's so much traffic. And then we're like, oh my god, get back on a streetcar. So we got on another streetcar. We should have never just gotten off the first one. But then we got on a different streetcar, and then painfully slow we got to the train station, and there was 5 minutes before it technically was supposed to take off, and we were running. We were sprinting there. Like we were just sweating. We got there. We were just out of breath and sweating.
But we arrived there before it was supposed to take off, and we talked to the lady. We were like, we have our tickets. Like we want to get on. And she's like, sorry, like you have to be here 10 minutes early. We closed boarding before that. And we're like, what the?
Yeah. So apparently they do that. They close boarding early so that the train can take off on time, which makes sense, but we just didn't know that. We thought that if we got there like on the dot that we could still like hop on.
We thought it was like the GO train.
Yeah. So that didn't happen. And we completely missed our train. So like Emily was crying. I was like panicking.
Yeah, we were both just having panic attacks. And it was such a flustering moment.
Yeah, and we had already like made reservations for the Airbnb. Yeah. So I had to like message them like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to come tonight. I'll likely get there tomorrow if we can find tickets for tomorrow, if there's like some sort of space open. And then they didn't even refund me for that night.
Yeah, and we're kind of broke ass bitches, so that's why it was so stressful.
Yeah. And so then we went back up to the
counter to try and find tickets, and she's like, yeah, sorry, everything for tonight's all sold out, but you can get one for tomorrow morning. And we're like, okay.
We're like, all right, I guess. Like, and we were like just so down and just like feeling terrible, and we were upset with each other for like allowing each other to like be late and be behind.
Yeah.
And then we just like sadly walked to a park, put all our bags down, and then just laid on the grass.
And we're like, oh, yeah.
And we're like, yeah. And then we were like trying to figure out what we were gonna do, since now our plans were canceled essentially. And then I get a text from a friend, and now, at this time that we were about to leave for Ottawa, it was actually in the middle of the big Raptors
like NBA finals.
Finals. Yeah, it was in the middle of the finals of the NBA finals. And the Raptors, which is the Toronto team, if you don't know, it was like on a winning streak, right?
And it was really hype and crazy in Toronto. Like
super
Toronto was
hyped.
So fun at
like
that point.
Everybody was just popping off. Every time they won, there would be like crazy gatherings in the middle of downtown, like fireworks just popping off in the middle of downtown, which is technically illegal.
I miss 2019. Fuck.
But
2020 is a shit show.
2020. But anyway, 2020
on
is
track.
just something else.
Staying on track.
Yeah. So then my friend texted me and she was like, "Hey, you want to go watch the Raptors game? I have Liza Koshy with me."
Liza Koshy. I think you said that.
Liza.
I have Lassie Koshy. I have my good friend Lassie Koshy.
I have my goodest of friends Lassie Koshy.
So I don't watch any of her videos.
Yeah. I mean, I watched her on Vine.
Yeah.
Back when Vine.
It's like a very long time ago.
Was Vine.
Yeah.
and then but like since then I haven't really watched any of her YouTube videos or anything like that, but she came to Toronto for a movie, and the reason that my friend was with her is because my friend was one of the dancers in the movie, and then Liza was like one of the main characters. So they were hanging out together, and I got that text and I was like, what? You're just chilling with Liza Koshy? Just like
what the fuck?
Like, what's going on and like why? And then she was like, yeah, we're just like, walking the streets, and she wants to watch the game, but we want to go to like a low key spot. So let's go to like Wild Wings.
Like, okay.
And by the way, Wild Wings, if you're from the States and you're watching this, it is not like Buffalo Wild Wings. It is the much more rundown version of Buffalo Wild Wings.
It's not cute.
It's not cute. It's not a hype spot at all. It's the opposite of that. It's like you pick other places and then those are full and you're like, all right, I guess we'll go to Wild Wings.
Yeah, that was the thing. Every other place in Toronto was basically full at this time because people were just like obsessed with going to restaurants and like watching the game all together because it was really, really cool. It was
right. So everybody wanted to be in like a bar or a restaurant in order to watch the game because that was like all the hype, and they wanted to be around others that were also hype, right?
Yeah, it makes it more fun.
Yeah.
So we were like, all right, I guess we'll go to Wild Wings.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, I guess I'll meet you there. And I guess we'll meet Liza Koshy, I guess. And so we got there, and then eventually they all came through. And then it was my friend, it was Liza Koshy, and then it was like some other Disney star that is apparently also famous that I don't remember.
He was really nice. I feel bad that I don't know his name. Yeah, whatever.
It was quite nice. Great teeth. He had great teeth. So
yeah,
distinguishing features.
I don't know if we like honestly embarrassed ourselves. But I think it's because she's like a YouTube celebrity, and that always feels different than like an actual, I don't know, I feel bad saying an actual celebrity, but like when we were growing up. I feel like YouTube celebrities now for kids are like actual celebrities.
Totally.
You know what I mean? But totally, for us growing up, it was like Justin Bieber and like the Jonas Brothers were on my wall, so that feels like a celebrity to me.
Right.
Like,
but also, she's like our age.
Yeah, which makes it weird.
It's different.
Yeah.
Because usually everybody that you had on your wall was usually older than you.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, and I think
I'll marry them.
Yeah. And I think the weird thing about a YouTube celebrity for most people is like you get to know them on a very personal level, but they don't know you because they just share their life with you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which is weird. It's like if they mention something about themselves and you're like, oh, I know, like that's so weird to me.
It feels strange.
It feels like you're a creep.
Used to it? Yeah. But the funny thing is, though, when we were walking down the street, I realized like how famous Liza Koshy is.
Yeah. So it turns out that the Raps won that game.
Yeah.
So then she had the idea of like, oh my gosh, I want to see all the hype on the street. Like, let's go walk down the street. And we were like, okay, sure. Let's go walk down the street and show you the hype. So she put on like a hoodie and was like fully trying to cover her face and everything. And I'm like, I'm sure it's fine. Like, I don't think you got to cover yourself that much. But turns out she did have to cover herself that much, and that I was wrong.
We were walking down the street, and this girl, I think she was super drunk. She comes up and she's like, "Oh my God, Liza Koshy! When are you gonna get back together with David Dobrik?"
and then she was like. And then Liza was like, spoiler alert, we're not.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
we were all cringing. We were like, what? And then this girl's friends were like, you can't say that. Because I don't know if you guys know, but Liza Koshy's ex-boyfriend is David Dobrik, and they're both like famous YouTubers. So I think their breakup was really public. And then afterwards we were like, oh, that was so awkward. And she's like, oh no, that happens all the time. What?
Yeah, apparently that was like one of the more polite encounters. But overall, she was really nice. Yeah. The other guy was also pretty nice.
Yeah, which I knew his name.
And we weren't all that awkward, but I did, like, reflecting back on it, I was trying to make extra jokes than normal. To try, I don't know, I kind of felt like in my head, I kind of felt like I had to entertain them.
Yeah.
And that I was putting in more effort to entertain and that I was putting in more energy, which kind of, in a way, dampened my experience. Yeah. Because I was so focused on entertaining them and making sure they were having a good time that I didn't pay attention to myself or
and me having a good time. Enjoy the game.
Exactly. Yeah. So all in all, I think it's better when there's no celebrity vibe attached to it. Do you know what I mean? Like overall, you can enjoy people's company way better when there's no like hype around them. Yeah. I think that even when celebrities don't have much of an ego, that they still have some sort of like expectation or thing that they're just used to. Yeah. You know, it becomes something that they're just used to. Yeah. So that still changes their behavior a bit, regardless of how big their ego is, you know?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So moral of the story, I don't really care about meeting celebrities, but I will embarrass myself anyway. So comment down below and tell us if you guys have some embarrassing celebrity stories, because I honestly want to hear them.
I would want to know.
Yeah, I like sharing my embarrassing stories, but I also like hearing your embarrassing stories.
I would love to hear your embarrassing stories. Yeah. Yeah. Or so comment in the YouTube comments or send me paper mail.
Even if you've had a good encounter with a celebrity, I honestly want to hear about it. Like, educate us, tell us how to do it. Because we don't know how.
We don't know how. Also, okay, if you've met a celebrity and it went well, please share your knowledge. Like, what do you do when you greet them? Where do you put your hands? Yeah. Where
do you put your hands?
Where do you put your hands? Like, is it?
Comment down below where I should put my hands. So that's the end of the video. Bye.
All right. So that is everything that we have for you today. If you like the video, make sure to like the video. Like that. And subscribe. Please comment your celebrity stories if you have them.
Yeah, I want to hear that shit.
I want to hear that.
I genuinely do.
Yeah. And then subscribe to a channel because we put up videos every single week now. We're back on track.
Yeah, we're back.
We are back on track.
Yeah. And we're going to be in this beautiful, nice space every week.
Every week.
I just want to provide you guys with some nice stability in your life. I'm sorry for moving you around. We love you.
I'm sorry you were first in my room and then you were in the garage and now you're here, but it's okay. Everything's better now.
We gonna stabilitate you. We gonna bring you a stable life.
Stable life.
Every week. Same place.
Same time.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Peace.